unlisted. What do I have to do here? I've never used this before. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try to figure this out. It says on my screen right here, I'm using this, what is this called? Streamlabs. I saw Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers talking about this earlier today and how he wished that he had started using it earlier. So I was like, Streamlabs, what is that? And I looked it up and figured it might be a way that I could get around YouTube's silly rules about how many subscribers you have to have before you can live stream from your telephone. I'm guessing that it still says unlisted right now. So what do I have to do in order to make it listed? I don't know what I have to do. Let's see, I can edit stream info. Let's see. Here we go. Title, my live stream. What are we going to call this? Let's call it, what are we going to call this stream? How about, discussion for, no, you know what, not discussion for fun. I was going to say that. How about this? How about return of the Mack? Because I like that song. Return of the Mack live, so people will know it's live. Yeah, I'll plug Streamlabs because they seem to be. Who can watch? Anyone can watch this. Save. It still says unlisted. What is happening here? Why does it still say? Why did it do that? What's going on? It just reset everything that I just did there. I'll try this again. Return of the... No, not the king. The Mack. Return of the Mack. Live. Okay. Next. That's good. Done. Anyone can see it. And I'm going to press save. Okay. Save. Now it says public. After I've been at this for 3 minutes and wasted a lot of time for anyone who decides to watch this after the fact. Okay, let's see if anyone comes in here, and let's see if I'm able to check out messages that people might have. Like I said, I've never used this before, so I don't know if I'll be able to see any comments that people are leaving or what have you. This is kind of a momentous occasion because it's been a long time since I have been able to stream from my phone. I didn't realize that this was an option. I didn't realize that if you just download Streamlabs and then connect that to your YouTube channel, that you could still stream from your mobile device with less than 1,000 subs, which I do not have yet. I do not have 1,000 subscribers on this channel just yet. Hopefully, at some point in the future, that would be nice. I'm just I'm waiting for people to start scrambling in here. Everyone who perhaps has not seen me live in ages. I was hoping for a little more fanfare, but this is what I get. This is what I get for not streaming live for months. Has it been months? Maybe it's been months. I don't know. I've lost track of time. It's been a long time since I've had my computer set up. or at least it feels that way. It's been a long time since I've had a nice, comfortable office that I can sit down in. My computer is still cloistered away. All of the cables in a box. The tower sitting lonely. The monitor all by itself. It's all bad news. It's a bad scene over here as concerns my computer. But, maybe I'm not fooling anyone. Maybe YouTube is blocking this from going out. I actually don't have any way of checking right now. So I don't know. It could very well be that I am just streaming and no one knows. That's possible. But earlier today, I accidentally began a stream, and I believe it was Thug Life Jeremy, or Me82, the artist formerly known as Thug Life Jeremy. He hopped in like just as I was leaving, and then Obi-Wan actually left a comment on that video. I think he said weird, and I deleted it, which I don't really do. I don't like to delete things, but that was never meant to go out. I was just trying to figure out how this darn program works on my phone, and I made a mistake. I started streaming on accident, and I think it lasted for maybe 15 seconds. And that did not seem like something worth keeping up in the selection of videos on this channel. So, okay, well, in any event, if no one is going to join me, that's fine. That's okay. Maybe some people have joined and I just can't see their messages. Maybe it's not telling me on this app. That's also a possibility. But what I wanted to do was ouch, oh boy, I just hit the funny bone. Whew. Okay. I had a few little news tidbits that I was going to go over. Since I'm not going to be browsing the news today, not live here, I did take the liberty of going ahead and preparing a few stories that I thought were worth mentioning that I gathered from several sources on the internet. And I think the first thing I would like to mention is that I believe I saw this on movieweb.com. But it came out that Ben Affleck's Batman film was to be a venture into Arkham Asylum. There had not been much information leaked about Ben Affleck's upcoming Batman film. No longer to be at this point, unfortunately, because I kind of liked him as Bruce Wayne. I thought he did a good job as Batman. We're not going to get that now. But if we would have gotten it, it would have been a dark dive into the demented and deranged world of Arkham Asylum. So maybe it would have been like, the Arkham Asylum video game. And who knows how many villains he could have encountered inside Arkham Asylum. Could have been really neat. That could have been a really cool thing. And now, of course, we're going to be getting Robert Pattinson as Batman. A little bit different timeline, of course. Not continuing on the same continuity, or at least maybe it'll be a prequel, but it obviously will not be picking up after the last appearance of Ben Affleck as Batman in the DC universe. Though, how some of these things go. It's like if the story gets out there, maybe the script leaks or something, or an outline of the plot, like a full outline, and people sort of really adhere to it, and it gets a movement. Maybe Ben Affleck can be convinced to come back after this Robert Pattinson film. Perhaps DC will be convinced to let him give it a try, let him come back. don the cape and cowl once again. I wouldn't mind it. Not at all. Like I said, I thought Ben Affleck, or Batfleck, as some people like to call him, often heard that as a pejorative. People trying to make fun of Ben Affleck as Batman by calling him Batfleck. I don't think he's worth being made fun of. I thought he did a fine job. Yeah. So, what else? Zombieland fans out there, you might like to hear this. Zombieland 2, Double Tap. There's going to be a video game called Zombieland 2 Double Tap Road Trip. It is going to be a dual stick shooter, top down, kind of like, what do you call that, Smash TV, that kind of setup. That will be out on October 15th on the Xbone, the PS4, the PC, and the Switch. The Switch not being left out in this one. The thing about the Switch is it has a lot of fantastic exclusives. Of course, all the Nintendo stuff, but it seems like a lot of the bigger games that are coming out, they kind of leave the Switch out of the equation. But not this one. This will be out on pretty much everything. What else do we got here? Little Monsters. Okay. Little Monsters. When you hear that title, I think about the movie starring Fred Savage and Howie Mandel and Ben Savage, of course. I don't think of a 2019 zombie film that takes place at a summer camp that just got a Red Band trailer. I didn't even watch the trailer for it, and I usually enjoy zombie movies, but the fact that they chose to call their movie Little Monsters when there's already a Little Monsters that is a classic film pisses me off. Totally dissuaded me from even bothering. It gave me pause, guys. No, I didn't start scratching at a post. That's not what I mean. It means I had to stop. I had to collect myself and say, huh? And after I did that, I was like, this is not good. This is not a good decision. This does not turn me on as a fan. Okay? It's a bad move. You know, like, it's a classic. Okay? Little Monsters from the 80s is a classic. One of my favorite movies of all time. Easily top 10. Easily. Don't steal the name of a classic film. It doesn't matter if you're coming up with a new concept. Oh, well, Our Little Monsters actually doesn't have anything to do with the old one that so many people think is a classic. We're doing our own thing over here with Our Little Monsters. Well, come up with a damn name that's not already attached to a legendary, yes, a legendary franchise at this point. It is a legendary franchise, and you guys couldn't come up with your own name for yours. So your Little Monsters, whoever you are, will never be legendary because you had to nick, no pun intended, the name from a classic. Okay? And that's all I want to say about that one. What next? Movie Web. Here is a headline straight from Movie Web. This headline said, Jason Lives director scripts female-led Friday the 13th sequel called Jason Never Dies. I don't know if any of you happen to catch the absurdity in that headline there. But the female-led part, do any of you happen to know of a Friday the 13th movie that was not female-led? I could be wrong, but I feel like all of them. I feel like the majority of horror movies are female-led. Hence, the final girl trope. A trope so prevalent that a movie was made called, was it Final Girls, I believe. Plural. But they had to put that in the title of this article as if it were something special. You know, I think it would be more newsworthy if they had decided to write a male-led Friday the 13th movie. A male-led sequel. Because you just kind of expect it to be female-led. You know, it's a detail where they're trying to prop this up as some sort of woke, and it's not. It's just par for the course. It is what it is. It's what it should be, by the way. I have no problem with it. But what I do have a problem with is people trying to shoehorn stuff like this into their headlines, into the news, to make it seem something it's not. And this makes it seem like this would be out of the ordinary, and it's not. It would be much more out of the ordinary, like I said, if the lead in the next Friday the 13th movie, in this person's sequel that they had written, had been a male. If they had cast this guy, if they had cast Matthew Modine as the lead in the next Friday the 13th movie, that would have been newsworthy. That would have been worth mentioning. But alas. What else do we got? French's. You guys like mustard? You like mustard? You like ice cream? How about putting them together? French's has created a mustard ice cream that will be released in limited quantities in Los Angeles and New York, of course. They're not going full tilt here. This is a marketing ploy. When I first read the headline here, I thought maybe they were going to go out on a limb and try something inventive. But it's marketing. It's a ploy. It's a plot and a scheme. I've been hearing that a lot recently. Plots and schemes. It's a plot and it's a scheme to get headlines. If they really were confident in the flavor of mustard, if French's were as confident as they're trying to appear to be, this would not be just a limited release in New York and LA. No, they would be mass producing this new mustard ice cream. It would be available everywhere. It'd be in UDF. It would be at Kroger. It would be at Meijer. It'd be at Walmart. It'd be at Costco. It'd be at Sam's Club. Be at the Piggly Wiggly. It'd be at Jewel Osco. It'd be everywhere. But it's not going to be. It's going to be at a couple places on the coasts, of course. They have to be so debonair. They have to get it to the people in Los Angeles. They have to get it to the people in New York City. Of course, they're the taste makers, if you will. But they're not making the taste this time. They're only sampling it, and then they're going to put it to rest. And that's that. That's about it. Hey, Obi-Wan's here. We are 20 minutes in. We finally have our first viewer. Obi-Wan wants to know, what am I streaming on? Well, here is the big reveal, Obi-Wan. I am streaming on my telephone. Now, before you get excited and congratulate me on 1,000 viewers, I do not have 1,000 viewers. I've not reached that milestone. I did find out earlier today from a tweet by Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers that he had started using this app called Streamlabs. And I was like, what is Streamlabs? Let me look into this. So I checked it out, and I found out that if you install Streamlabs on your phone and connect it to your YouTube channel, then you can actually stream live through Streamlabs. And it circumvents the silly little rule that YouTube's put in place for their smaller channels, for us little guys. So if you're out there and you would like to stream live and you have less than 1,000 viewers, download Streamlabs for your mobile device, and you can get back in the game. And that's just what I've done. That's just what I've done. So this is the return of the Mack live stream. The Mack is back. By the way, as I was just discussing mustard ice cream, I wanted to take a moment to just to bring something up here. Ice cream. Does anyone else think that it's about time that ice cream becomes one word? Obi-Wan says, only catch is there's a big black rectangle in the middle of the screen. A black rectangle? What in the world? See, I don't see that. The only thing I see on my screen is just, I see the two Stranger Things books that I have in front of me. But I don't see any. Is it this alert box? Is that what we're... I don't know what that is. There's a layer. It says alert box. I've never used this before, so I'm trying to finagle it. Let me know if that did anything. I just made this alert box smaller, and I'll see if let's see. It's just left. Wait. Only catches there's a big black rectangle in the middle of the screen. I thought you were going to say something else when I first started reading that. I thought it was going to get a little raunchy when he said only catches there's a big black. Usually when those two words go together, what follows is not PG, but it seems as though it's just left. The big black rectangle in the middle of the screen. Perhaps we have gotten rid of it now. We'll find out. See what Obi-Wan tells us. Our pal there, Obi-Wan. We'll see. Obi-Wan vlog, by the way. He says it's all good now. Okay, so apparently that fixed it. Good job. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. The last time that I interacted with Obi-Wan on the internet, on YouTube, his name was not Obi-Wan Vlog. And then he tells me that I've got a dirty mind. I don't have a dirty mind at all. I have a very clean mind. What do you call that? What's the game? Cards Against Humanity. They did a whole take on that, didn't they? They had the big black box, and then they had the bigger, blacker box, and there was a whole thing. There was like a secret card in the top of one of the boxes, I think. If you cut the inside of the box open, I think there was a secret card on the inside. And I won't say what it said on the card because I've just gotten my ability to stream back, and I don't want people to report me for being naughty, because I'm not. This is a family-friendly stream, and I'm not gonna make any fucking mistakes like that. So just calm down, okay? Anyway, what I was gonna say is that I think it's about time for ice cream to become one word. Now, I can't be the only person who's ever made this observation. I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who are sick and tired of ice cream being separated by a space, ice and cream. I think that it's been in the public lexicon for long enough. No one pauses when they say. No one says ice cream. They say ice cream. Almost like it almost sounds like you're saying ice cream. Ice cream. Ice cream. You want to go for some ice cream? There's no space there at all. You cannot tell me there's a space between those two words. So I'm sick and tired of seeing that space. I'm sick and tired of spell correct, catching it, and trying to get you to write two words. I think that it is high time ice cream becomes one word, put together. Get on it. Who do we ask about that? Who can make that official? Does Webster's have to do that? I don't know. I don't know which committee, or if there's like a tribunal of all of the different dictionary compilers, and they get together every so often and they decide what they're going to recognize for the next year. This should have been done a long time ago. Ice cream needs to be one word. No one says it as two words. No one thinks about it as two different things. No one in their mind pictures cream and then ice and then like iced cream. No, it's just ice cream. It's its own thing. It's fine. Let's end the controversy. Obi-Wan says that he played Cards Against Disney a few weeks ago. It's quite fun. So is that an expansion, I suppose, of Cards Against Humanity? I know they've got quite a few different expansion packs. And Obi-Wan's telling us that he changed his channel name because this guy discovered him and gave him a shout out and said he better start doing some reviews. But he doesn't do many anymore, so he changed it to be more accurate, I suppose, to what he's doing on his channel. So that makes sense. But I will say that I will miss hearing you present yourself as Obi-Wan Reviews. It has a nice ring to it. It's got a good snap to it. Obi-Wan Reviews. It just rolls off the tongue. Obi-Wan Vlog. I mean, I'll get used to it. That's fine. It's your channel. You get to pick. But I suppose I have a sense of nostalgia for Obi-Wan Reviews. But that'll pass. It's okay. Obi-Wan says the whole of the English language needs an upheaval. I believe you. I agree. I think that some sort of summit would be good. A nice English language summit to sort of present all of the inconsistencies and be like, what are we going to do about these things? You know, we've let this stuff kind of get out of hand for so long. We've got to tighten things up a little bit. We've got to figure out what's what. I can't imagine trying to learn English if I were coming from somewhere else. If I was not a native speaker, must be a nightmare. So, what else? Last thing, I think I had one other little story here. Oh, yes, there was one other thing I was going to say about this mustard ice cream. Ice cream. There's one thing I was going to say about this mustard ice cream, and that is that what they're going to do is they're going to serve it with a pretzel cookie. So if you were wondering how it was going to be prepared, you will get it in a cup, and then you'll also get a pretzel cookie that you can have it with, because lots of people like to put mustard on their pretzels. At least here in the United States. I can't speak for Obi-Wan Vlog. I don't know if that's customary to do down under. If you guys put mustard on your pretzels, but here in the United States, it is it's fairly often that you will be served a pretzel with like a side of mustard. It just seems to be a thing that people have gotten on board with over the years. So, yeah. So that's about all I saw. They're kind of a poopy news day as far as I'm concerned. I just made a few little scribbly notes there. Pass those along to you. And I wanted to mention these two pieces of Stranger Things canon. I just finished this book last night, and I read this graphic novel earlier this evening. I'll start with this one because it was pretty simple. It's not too bad. What did I get this for? It's like $17.99 here in the U.S. Purchased this one from Barnes and Noble. I'll just show you some of the... Here's what the art looked like on the inside. I didn't think that the art in the actual book itself was all that spectacular. I mean, when you're dealing with Stranger Things, I feel like I don't know, you might hope for a little more. Though they did break it up. There were some areas in the story where you see sort of an illustrated version of the D&D game that the boys are playing. You know, Mike, Will, Lucas, and Dustin. When they're playing D&D in the basement, it'll flash back to that D&D session, and it's kind of at times illustrated like this right here. A bit different approach than what you see in the rest of the book. And I think those panels are interesting. There was one other little section that I'll show you that kind of, without spoiling anything, of course. Though if you've watched season 1, there aren't really any spoilers in here if you've watched season 1. All that you get in this book is the view from Will's perspective of what was going on during season 1 when he was trapped in the Upside Down. So it kind of fills in some gaps, shows you what Will was up to. So you can see here, I kind of like this storybook illustration approach that they do for just a few pages. I think the colors, the tone of it, it's a little more interesting than the stuff you see in the rest of the book. And then in this particular edition that I got from Barnes and Noble, they did have a center area with like a fold out section. Center fold. And these were some different covers, I believe, that they had pitched. Yeah, this is from the pitch cover when they were pitching this idea to Dark Horse and Netflix to do a comic book series. And I thought I think that's the best one right there. I like that. From the showdown with the Demogorgon inside of the buyer's residence with Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan. I thought that was a pretty cool piece of art. So I think the best art in this book is this little center section where they show you some of what they were working on when they were coming up with ideas for the cover during their pitch sessions. So nothing extremely remarkable with this one, but it's a nice little piece of Stranger Things lore to put in your collection if you're a Stranger Things fan. See what Will was up to during season 1. There are some scenes in this book where you'll get Will's perspective, what he was doing, what he was seeing, what he was up to during particular scenes in the show that you will recognize, which is kind of neat. So I think that's probably the coolest thing about this particular collection. And when I say collection, I mean the other side. That was the name of the series. It was a limited series. This book collects issues 1 through 4. And you'll get to see some familiar scenes, but from a different vantage point. Some stuff from season 1 that you will definitely remember, but it won't be from the camera's perspective. It'll be from an alternate perspective. So that's kind of a cool little thing about this one here. As for this, I feel like I should probably do an entire video about this at some point, because I took quite a few notes as I was reading, because I've started to do that now. You might think that's silly, but I really have found that if you take notes while you're reading, stop maybe every page or two and just write down a bit of a summary of what you've just read. It adds some time to your reading. It takes a little longer to get through a book when you do that, but I think that the retention afterwards is just improved, to a degree that I can't even put into words. It's night and day for me. And maybe other people aren't this way. Maybe I've just got a strange brain. Maybe I've got memory issues. But I feel like by stopping and doing that, it forces you to sort of hammer home to yourself, hey, what I just read was important. It was so important that I'm going to go back and actually put it into my own words. And it's not like I'm writing the story, move for move or word for word. It's just give a quick rundown of the scene that just happened. And if you do that, by the time you get to the end of the book, for me anyway, it just felt like I had retained a grasp of the overall narrative to a much greater degree than I would have otherwise. So it's something that I started to do fairly recently, and it's something I think I'll continue to do. I read a lot of nonfiction, and I think that this approach, taking notes while reading, is also going to be good for memorizing kind of the more minute details. Say you're reading like a philosophical treatise or some sort of historical tome, something like that. Remembering dates and names as opposed to like flipping through a book and trying to recall certain things. If you've kind of got it down and you've written it once, it's easier to recall, I think. So, yeah. So there you go. Anyway, yeah. Lots of notes that I took on this one. I actually posted on Twitter several nights ago that I was reading this, and I tagged Gwenda Bond, the writer of this book, in my Twitter post, and she replied and thanked me for reading it, thanked me for the support, and I said that I would probably do a review at some time, and I think that my review will be mostly favorable. I enjoyed reading this. A quick little summary is that this book takes place before the series. It really deals with Eleven's mom and Dr. Brenner. They're like the two main focal points of this story. And there are other characters who are important as well, but they are the characters you're going to be paying the most attention to. And this explores kind of the origins of the Hawkins National Laboratory and shows you behind the scenes of what led to the events of season 1. Not right up to season 1, but it shows you what kind of sets the stage for everything that follows. So I think I would say it's required reading for anyone who's a big fan of Stranger Things. You might be thrown off because there's not as much of a supernatural or extra natural element to the story. It's a bit more grounded. It deals a bit more with the characters and their struggles as they kind of get tangled up into this, kind of a dangerous and perhaps unethical experiment that's taking place at Hawkins National Laboratory. And so it deals more with the characters and how they're coping as young people sort of caught up in this thing that they couldn't have imagined. And definitely worth reading though. I'll go over the plot in full detail at some point if I guess if I decide that would be something that people want to hear. And if you want to sway me in that direction, you can always let me know. I would appreciate it. Let me know what you think about that. So those are 2 pieces of media that I've taken in recently. What else did I do? I just posted about this earlier. If I can find it, let me just. I'm trying to track down a certain something. Here we go. A few back issues that I picked up the other day. As I'm kind of in the Venom mood right now, the Venom and Carnage and Spider-Man mood. Please, looking forward to Absolute Carnage starting next week. I believe the first issue comes out. But I picked up these the other day. Whoop, hold on. Got some troubles. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Picked up these. This is Venom Funeral Pyre. It was a 3-issue miniseries from 1993. And if you've ever wanted to see Venom and the Punisher go at it as adversaries, but also as good guys, this is a cool little story with some fantastic artwork, some really fun advertisements inside of these books too. I posted a few pictures on Twitter the other night of the ads, I think in issue 1. But by the way, issue 1, look at the background here. Isn't that cool? Nice and shiny. This is the kind of stuff that Ethan Van Sciver is trying to bring back with Cyberfrog. I'm sure some of you out there have probably seen the way that his chromium cover looks. I'm proud to say that I got both the original and the Salamandroid Cyberfrog covers. Looking forward to those. Anyway, this is the kind of cool stuff you get when you go back and buy 90s books. I also picked up this Generation X #1 just because of how cool the cover looked when I was at the comic shop the other day. I've not read this one yet. Couldn't tell you the first thing about what happens in the story, but I just saw it sitting up on the shelf and I was like, that's pretty sweet. I can pay $3.99 for that. And that's the kind of stuff that you get. Like, people take a chance on a book just because it looks cool. Same thing happens with music. A lot of artists back in the day were worried, I think, when they went from vinyl records to CDs, that it was going to impact sales negatively, because there was this allure to buying vinyl records. People felt like they're almost getting a work of art. And you see that now. They've come back, obviously, in a resurgence over the past maybe 10 years or so. And it's pretty easy to go out now. You can probably go to a place like, what would you say? Michael's, or even at Target. You can go out and just pick up little frames that are made specifically for displaying vinyl records, because people love looking at album art. And when they went to CDs, the artwork shrunk down so much, even more so with cassette tapes. And then now we're obviously in the modern age to the extreme, where you're dealing with like a thumbnail image. So it's good that the physical market has sort of come back, even if it's just for collectors and nostalgia. To have that option there, I think, is good for people who care about that kind of thing. And that's what Uncle E is trying to do for comics to a degree. There's been some controversy within Comicsgate the past week or so that I think is, I don't know, seems like a bunch of hogwash to me. But yeah, Obi-Wan says he's glad that I've got my phone streaming back. He's got to head off to a site inspection. He says, since I'm the only one here, can I ask how Good Brother is? Yeah, I will, yeah, possibly we can do the PM on that one. So Venom. Looking forward to Absolute Carnage. And that's probably where I'll wrap up tonight. So I was kind of hoping I'd have a few more people here since it had been so long, but maybe I lost everyone. Maybe all of my old live streaming buddies just gave up. Maybe they all lost hope in me. Maybe they all unsubscribed. Maybe that's what I get, you know? I'll just have to deal with it. I'll have to move forward. Just some lonely live streams, perhaps. What are you going to do? Well, either way, it's good to have this capability back, and you can bet that I am going to be back for more, Lord willing. And until then, take care. If you're watching this after the fact, let me know if you maybe didn't get an alert or something like that. Not that it's going to matter. I'm just curious. It's not like we can do anything about that. You know how much YouTube cares about that kind of stuff. So, all right, guys. Have a good night, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.